The research station on Kepler 442b had been silent for 3 days when Captain Maya Rodriguez received the distress beacon. Her ship, the Terran vessel Defiant, had been conducting routine patrol sweeps along the outer rim when the automated message reached them through subspace. Unknown biological threat, the message had said. All personnel presumed lost. Do not approach. Maya's crew of 12 seasoned Marines had laughed at the warning. Humans had faced down the crystalline hive. Minds of Arcturus survived the toxic storms of Vega Prime and tamed the volcanic hellscapes of a dozen worlds. What could possibly threaten a fully equipped research station? The answer came stalking through the facility's corridors 48 hours later. Lieutenant Jake Morrison was the first to encounter it. He'd been checking the station's lower levels when his motion sensors began screaming warnings. The creature that emerged from the shadows defied every classification in the xenobiology database. It stood nearly 4 meters tall, its obsidian carapace gleaming under the emergency lighting. 6 limbs ended in razor-sharp talons that could slice through reinforced steel. Multiple eyes tracked movement with predatory precision, while sensory organs along its elongated skull twitched and flared, sampling the air for chemical signatures. Morrison's training kicked in. He raised his plasma rifle and fired 3 controlled bursts center mass. The energy bolt struck the creature's chest and simply dispersed, absorbed harmlessly into its adaptive armor plating. The thing tilted its head, studying him with what appeared to be curiosity rather than aggression. Then it spoke in perfect, unaccented English. Fascinating. Your species exhibits remarkable courage in the face of certain death. Morrison's blood ran cold. Intelligence was one thing, but this creature had somehow learned human language from the research team. The implications were terrifying. What did you do to the scientists? He demanded, finger hovering over the trigger. They provided excellent nutritional content, the creature replied conversationally. Your species possesses an unusual combination of proteins and neural tissue complexity. Most satisfying. The Marine's combat experience told him to retreat, call for backup, establish a defensive perimeter. But his human pride wouldn't let him run from anything, no matter how dangerous. He switched his rifle to full auto and emptied the entire power cell into the creature's torso. The plasma impacts lit up the corridor like a miniature sun. When the light faded, the creature remained standing, completely unharmed. Worse, it seemed, to have grown slightly larger, its carapace now sporting a faint energy sheen. Adaptive absorption, it explained helpfully. Your weapons only make me stronger. I am Vorth, apex predator of 17 worlds. I have consumed the warriors of the Kentari Empire, the battlemasters of Rigel 7, and the siege specialists of the outer colonies. None have proven particularly challenging. Morrison backed away slowly, his mind racing. If conventional weapons were useless, if this thing had already wiped out dozens of military forces across the galaxy, then humanity was just another meal, on its endless hunt. That was when the scent hit him. The creature's sensory organs suddenly flared wide, sampling the air with frantic intensity. Its predatory confidence wavered, replaced by something Morrison had never expected to see in an apex predator. Uncertainty. What is that smell? Vorth demanded, his voice losing its casual tone. Morrison caught it too, a faint but unmistakable aroma drifting through the station's air recyclers. It was coming from the mess hall where Sergeant Lisa Park had been heating up her lunch when the evacuation alarm sounded. Oh, that? Morrison said, his fear gradually replaced by dawning comprehension. That's just kimchi, fermented cabbage, Korean dish, really popular with the crew. Vorth's multiple eyes widened in what could only be described as horror. The massive predator took an involuntary step backward, its talons scraping against the metal floor. Bacterial warfare, it whispered. Your species weaponizes decay. You consume rotting organic matter as sustenance. Well, technically it's controlled. Fermentation, Morrison corrected. We've got sauerkraut too if you're interested. And there's some really aged cheese in the cold storage that could probably strip paint. The creature's breathing became rapid and shallow. Its predatory stance collapsed entirely as it seemed to process this information. You deliberately cultivate bacterial colonies. You introduce them into your digestive systems. You feed on corruption itself. Morrison nodded, beginning to understand. Humans are pretty much walking biohazards. We've got more bacterial cells in our bodies than human cells. Most of our food is either fermented, aged, or processed through bacterial action. It's how we survive. Vorth's carapace began to pale, shifting from obsidian black to a sickly gray-green. The apex predator who had terrorized 17 worlds was looking distinctly nauseous. The research team, it said weakly. Their cellular structure was contaminated. I thought it was merely post-mortem decay. But you're telling me they were alive and carrying these colonies intentionally? Yep. Beneficial bacteria. Helps with digestion, immune system, all sorts of things. We'd die without them. The creature made a sound that might have been retching. Then, to Morrison's amazement, it simply collapsed. 4 meters of armored death. Machine hit the floor with a resounding crash and lay perfectly still. Morrison approached cautiously, rifle ready. But Vorth wasn't moving. The apex predator was playing dead, its earlier confidence completely shattered by the revelation that humans were essentially mobile bacterial colonies. Hours later, when the cleanup crew arrived, they found Morrison sitting calmly beside the motionless creature, sharing a meal of particularly pungent kimchi with his squad mates. The legendary apex predator of 17 worlds remained frozen in place, occasionally twitching when the smell grew too strong. Well, Morrison said to his captain, turns out being disgusting has its advantages. Maya Rodriguez looked down at the cowering predator and shook her head. Make a note in the log, she said. Humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology, or our courage. It's our ability to eat things that would make other species vomit. The universe, it seemed, wasn't quite ready for humans after all.